Hello everyone and welcome back to Grace's Space. Today is going to be an episode that is a little bit different, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it because I am finally making an episode on one of my favorite things. It was something that I was listening to over the period of time that I didn't post on YouTube as much. It is called Welcome to Night Vale. If you don't know what Welcome to Night Vale is, I would not be shocked. Welcome to Night Vale is a podcast that you can get on YouTube, you can get on their website, or you can do it from where I put it, which is the Google Podcasting app, or literally just anywhere that you get podcasts. It's on iTunes and a lot of other places. Let's go down the line from the pilot. No, I'm not going to do a review of all 153, but 2 or 3 now, I believe. So I guess backstory on Welcome to Night Vale to those of y'all who don't know what Welcome to Night Vale is. It is a podcast that started way back in 2012 and now it's 2019. That's weird to say, especially because I started listening to it this year, I believe. This year. And there's a lot of people who are very long time fans. They were there since the beginning, but it's very hard to find people like that. So I've been trying to get my friends into Welcome to Night Vale so I would be able to talk to them about all the amazing things that happen inside this little town in the middle of the desert. Now onto the storyline, I guess. The storyline is kind of everywhere depending on which episode you start on. I would prefer, and I'm pretty sure the creators would prefer, that you start on the pilot episode because that is where you get introduced to Carlos, Cecil, I think Steve, Old Woman Josie. It's where you get introduced to the majority of the characters that are there for some of the time. And it is a podcast that mimics a radio show for this place called Night Vale. It is a podcast that mimics a radio show. And inside the radio show, they have common updates about things such as traffic, weather, and just overall daily news. Except this one is a little bit different. Whenever I first started listening to it, I was listening to it on YouTube because I was scrolling through TikTok and on my For You page, I got a cosplay for this dude named Cecil. Of course, I had no clue who this was. I didn't know anything about Welcome to Night Vale. I was just kind of looking at the cosplays and I thought that it was really cool. This dude who was wearing a sweater vest, purple, and it seemed like everybody had different interprets of him. Some people thought that he had a different color skin tone. Some people thought that he had very sharp cheekbones. Some people thought that he had a third eye. Some people thought that he had tattoos, things along those lines. And so I'm like, what is this Welcome to Night Vale thing? I look it up, I start listening to it on YouTube, and I am hit with this wave of just uncertainty. Does that make sense? Like the feeling of going into a movie and not knowing what movie you're watching. You guys have probably never felt that feeling before, but whenever I had to walk out of my bedroom and actually socialize with my family, I would almost never know what movie we were watching. Or whenever my sister wanted to surprise me by randomly taking me to a movie and I had no clue what I was watching. I had no clue what I was getting into. Inside the first episode, you hear about angels, dog park, the fact that nobody's allowed to enter the dog park, including dogs. Dogs are not allowed in the dog park. Humans are also not allowed in the dog park. We learn about this new guy who came into town named Carlos, that Cecil is kind of, everybody inside the town, but especially Cecil, from what we hear, is basically fangirling over him because Carlos is this very perfect being. I believe inside of the first episode. Inside the first episode, he describes Carlos as he has tan skin and teeth like a military cemetery. His hair is perfect. End quote. Yes, I've listened to it enough times to be able to quote it. Also because it's one of the more famous quotes. Cecil has a lot of quotes that I use a lot. The entirety of Welcome to Night Vale has quotes that I use a lot. One of my favorite ones that I put on a bookmark, actually. I'm planning on a video where I show you guys some of my paintings and be like, hey, which one do you like the best? Because I'm planning on doing something with some of my paintings and drawings. One of my paintings that I made a bookmark for me for, it says, one of Cecil's quotes, I like my coffee how I like my nights. Dark, endless, and impossible to sleep through. It's one of my favorite quotes. I love it so much. There's also really, really deep quotes, especially for the episode Love is a Shambling Thing, which I believe it's talking about Valentine's Day. Whenever they talk about specific things, they do it once, even though it is clearly shown that it develops over years. So there's things like the episode for Valentine's Day, the episode for Fashion Week, and overall just other holidays and things of the like. Moving on, is there anything really important that I have to stick on? Let's go to, A Story About You, episode 13. Episode 13, A Story About You, is a story that is told in second person. And of course, with already all the weirdness of Night Vale and him fangirling over Carlos, at this point you've kind of gotten used, but not 100% used to how Cecil speaks, what his mannerisms are, even though it's only auditory. You can hear how he reacts to things and along those lines. But it's an entire episode that is told from second perspective. Like, this is way back when. I'm shoving you guys back to 4th grade, never heard of it. Second perspective is, instead of using things like I or they, you would use you. I'm currently switching between second and first perspective. But it's an entire episode that says things like, you go to the store, you meet a man at the store, stuff along those lines. And it is honestly one of my favorite episodes because my learning style is kinesthetic, but I love just hearing what I'm supposed to do. Does that make sense? I like being told what to do because there's no way to get it wrong if you tell me what to do explicitly. The fact that he's like, you are doing this, you try and open the box, etc., etc., etc. There are so many examples of it, and it is so nice. It's about a newcomer who came into Night Vale. No, not Carlos. The farthest we get is the name you. He only uses the name you as if that's his actual name. The way that they transition to the weather is also fantastic, where he says, you get into your car and you hear the man on the radio say something about the weather, and then they cut to the weather, which is fantastic. There's the ending. Oh my god, the ending. The ending, it's literally, they say somebody's holding a knife to your throat. Like, one of them is holding a knife to your throat. And you look up and you see the massive planet. I believe they call it the planet of awesome size. Sorry. Am I dissociating right now? No, I think I'm good. I'm just at a loss for words. What was I talking about? Yeah. I believe they call it the planet of awesome size. It has no specific light source. It's all dark. A person who I'll later mention also spoke about the planet of awesome size. Literally, the episode ends with a knife being held to your throat, and you're reaching, and he says almost as if you could touch it. For the next few sentences, he's inferring that you're like reaching out, and then whenever you touch it, he just ends. Then the end card happens that says, Welcome to Night Vale is a production of Commonplace Books. I believe at that moment it's coming. Whew, Commonplace Books! Okay, the next one is...
Hello, hi, this is Editing Grace, and I'm aware that I sound icky and disgusting right now, but that's because the filming of this video was literally over an hour long, and even though I did it about 2 or so days ago, my throat still hurts, not to mention that I have allergies, and yada yada yada. Overall, I really shouldn't be doing this voiceover. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I needed to split up this video. I was planning on just having one long video and it being around about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even longer, so that you guys just have one full video to watch in all of its entirety. But that simply wasn't going to happen. The editing, first of all, was taking way too long. And so I ended it right here so that you guys don't know what I'm going to talk about next. Suspense is cool, ain't it? Anyway, So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like. Also make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of more videos like this. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see y'all next time. Bye!